Welcome to the Down Dog Athletics Podcast, a competitor's guide to mental health and mastery, your resource for conversations about what goes on between the ears. Before we get into this podcast, I just want to say thank you. It means so much to me when people come up and say, or message me and say they listen to the podcast and say they really connected with the message. Down Dog Athletics' mission, and my mission really, is to help people bridge the gap to things like yoga, like meditation, like mental health, so that they can incorporate them into who they already are and ultimately live a healthier and more powerful life. Before I get into today's guest, I want to share a few things. One, head to downdogathletics.com to sign up for my newsletter. Stay updated on blogs, events, podcasts, and other educational content. I send it out every Friday. I've been getting really good feedback recently, and essentially just wraps up everything that I'm producing so that you can have it all in one place. Secondly, if you haven't already, grab my free 28-day plan where I combine yoga, strength training, nutrition, and other mental health resources to help educate yourself on how to be healthier. And last but not least, if you are looking for a coach to improve your physical and or mental health, feel free to fill out my application. Just head over to the coaching tab on my website. We'll set up a call and we'll figure out how we might be able to work together. But all in all, head to downdogathletics.com. Sign up for the newsletter, sign up for the 28-day plan if you haven't grabbed it already, and if you want to reach out, I'd love to connect on how we could work together. Today's guest is Eric Hinman, and Eric's a super cool dude. He's an expert in influencer marketing, entrepreneur, investor, and he's a savage endurance and CrossFit athlete. When I say savage, I mean he's competed in 5 Ironmans, including qualified 3 times, and competed for the World Championships in Kona, Hawaii. Based in Denver, Eric is sponsored by dozens of consumer brands, including Vita Coco, Vital Proteins, Optimum Nutrition, and Saucony. Eric is also a health and wellness, tech, and hospitality entrepreneur. He is a co-founder of Original Grain, a multi-unit, healthy, fast, casual restaurant, Exo Taco, a trendy Mexican restaurant in Syracuse, New York, and Urban Life Athletics, a fitness facility in Syracuse, New York. As an angel investor, his portfolio includes brands such as 10,000 Gear, WellWell, Fitner Technologies, and Swerve. So total a lot of things that this guy's involved in. Head over to erichinman.com/products for discounts on several of the products that he works with. In this episode, we talk a lot about recovery and how important it is in his routine being as active as he is. We dig into his daily routine and his habits that he's created to ensure the time that he needs in order to manage so many endeavors. Lastly, we dig into the stories and the mindsets behind some of his most intense competitions. One of the reasons that I was most excited to have him come on was so that he could dig into really what is mental mastery, and especially competing in long endurance competitions. Definitely some mental games going on there. So really excited for you guys to hear this. Without further ado, Eric Hinman. What's up, Eric? Thanks for coming on the show.
What's up, Paul? Thanks for having me.
You're in Colorado right now?
I'm in Denver, Colorado. It's a great place to be. I love it here.
It's I went to Colorado Springs a couple years ago. My sister's going to school out there, and it's gorgeous. I mean, obviously a different part of town, but Garden of the Gods, skied Breckenridge, and it's crazy how many mountains are there that are above 15, 20,000, maybe not 20,000, 10,000 feet.
Yeah, I think there's around 40. There's a lot that are above 14,000 feet, I believe. I mean, wow. There's a lot here, but 10, yeah. So
you hike a lot. I've seen that's a big part of your routine. Are you just going on a different one each day, or do you have different hikes that you really enjoy doing?
I have favorites. Probably 70% of the time, the hike for me is a workout. So I'm going back to a place where I can control everything. Like, I know there's not going to be a big crowd. I know approximately how long it is. I know how hard I can push and where I can push it. I know if I can run or not run, up or down it. So I do a lot of the same ones often. Mount Sanitas in Boulder, Green Mountain in Boulder, Bear Peak in Boulder. They're kind of my go-tos. And then 30% of the time, I'll go to a new place just to explore and potentially find a new place that, has both amazing views and also is a great workout and not a ton of people.
Yeah. And these are solo adventures, or I see you bring your dog, but you ever go with friends and just kind of race each other, or what's the vibe like there?
70 or 80% of the time, they're solo adventures. That's my me time. That's when I like to be just in my flow state, listening to music and just getting lost in the moment. And then 20% of the time, yes, I go with my girlfriend. I go with her dog, Luna, which is a husky. And, those are more of just like casual fun, taking pictures and just enjoying the scenery.
I love that. One of the things I've kind of discovered when I've talked to people about mental health and meditation is just how much playing and being in that flow state and having fun is really beneficial from a mental health standpoint. Sounds like a really cool way for you to really have that time to yourself and really kind of down regulate, but also you're working out, but just really kind of clear your mental space.
Yeah, I found these different activities where I get the most bang for my buck, and flow state is something that I'm a huge proponent of, and I talk about it a lot. And like downhill technical mountain biking, technical trail running, for me, they're obviously a great workout, but it forces you to be in the moment. Like
Yeah.
you let your mind wander. You have to be in the present moment. Whereas like, going for a run on the pavement or going out for a road bike ride, I love doing those things, but it's a lot easier for your mind to wander. So I found these activities that combine getting my heart rate up with like, I have to be in the present moment, so that the high that I get from that and the flow state that it puts me in is more so than just going off for like a run on the pavement or going off for a bike ride on the road.
Yeah, totally. The flow state, could you go into a little bit of detail about that? What's actually happened, maybe at a physiological level, or what you notice when you're in that state, maybe out like throughout the rest of your day? I'm really big into yoga, but at the same time, I also have a background in athletics, and I totally understand where if you're a basketball player and you're in that flow, you're so present, and that's when you perform the best.
Yeah, nothing else matters when you're in flow state. Like you don't want to be anywhere else. You just, that's where you want to be in that very moment. Like you just feel amazing. You feel unstoppable. And it's just a function of like not wanting to be anywhere else in that at that time. Like you're just so happy in that present moment. That's what I consider to be flow state. And like, sometimes I can maintain that for almost a full day with the different activities that I'm doing, where just like I am in the present moment, not thinking about anything else. I'm just like stuck doing that one thing.
Wow. That's super powerful, just to be present. Even for some people, being present for 5 minutes is really hard, but I know.
Like I don't meditate. My girlfriend tells me all the time, like, you have to meditate. And I'm like, mountain biking is my meditation. Like, I understand the difference between the two, but for me, that's what puts my mind in the present moment, or doing activities like that. Whereas, doing a float tank or actually sitting down and meditating, I'm not that great at, because it's difficult for me to shut my brain off if I don't have something that is like engaging it, forcing it to be in the present moment.
Yeah, totally. And I like that you mentioned that, because I'm a proponent of meditation and it's helped me, but everyone's different. And if you can find something that gives you that space, whether it's floating, whether it's hiking, whether it's going on a run, and you get into that present state, that's really, you're getting a lot of the same benefits there. And I think a lot of people force that meditation on them, and then it creates stress and anxiety that they can't do it. And it's like you're trying to fit a square in a box or a square in a circle. I think one of the first things I want to kind of dig into is, I've kind of read up on you, and you have this habit of meeting people, whether it's a dinner, you're doing this podcast with me. We've never met. We have some mutual friends, Brett and Jason. But where did you pick up this habit of always trying to meet new people, always trying to make connections? We'll get into a little bit of your background, and we'll see where it becomes super beneficial. But where did you create that habit? And I'd also be interested if there's any really cool stories that you've seen of just practicing it and then manifesting, where 10 years down the road, you're like, wow, we're so glad I made that connection.
Sure. I mean, all of the success that I've had in the last 10 years has been from my network, just meeting a lot of people and then eventually being able to connect those dots and form something from it. But I would say, so my very first business out of college was a property and casualty insurance agency. And I was going door to door in upstate New York, selling insurance, mainly to campgrounds and marinas. And I was meeting a ton of people by doing that. And I just realized that like each place that I insured, they would refer me to a couple people, and they would make my life so much easier to sell the next policy, because they were doing the sales work for me. And it was an authentic connection when they were connecting me to another campground. So I think that's where it really like started to instill in my head, is like, meet as many people as you possibly can, because they're going to make life so much easier if you have a big network to be able to sell anything. And I would say, I don't know, with my software company, which was my second business that I started in 2010, I was meeting with a ton of different business owners and entrepreneurs that had app ideas or wanted to solve problems with mobile applications. I was just taking meeting after meeting. And I just, again, like realized the power of like network, and the more people I met, the more good things came out of it, and the more businesses I was able to create. I ended up starting a fitness facility in upstate New York called Urban Life Athletics. And through that, I met my business partner in 3 restaurants that I co-own. So again, the power of connection, the power of putting yourself out there. And when I started competing in Ironman, I developed this following on social media and started getting hit up all the time on social media to meet up with people. And now that's my main source of new people, is people messaging me on Instagram. And I have a pretty good read whether it's going to be a person where, I think I can add value for them, or they can add value for me. And like the sum is going to be greater than the parts. So
Absolutely.
I think about that whenever someone reaches out to me. And if I think that's the case, then I'm all about meeting with no major like intention behind it, other than I'm meeting another like-minded person. They're probably going to connect me with other like-minded people. I'm going to connect them with other like-minded people. And the routine that I've now fallen into is like 4 days a week, breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner. I'll combine that with meeting a new person. So, having coffee, lunch, dinner with them. And I know I have to do those 3 things each day. I want my morning coffee, I have to eat lunch, and I have to have dinner. So it's multitasking without multitasking, and they're getting my complete focus. Whereas, I've learned like not to do like workout meetings with someone new, because that's when I want to work out. I want to focus 100% on that. So I've set aside these certain times when like I can give my complete attention to that person, and I know like my mind is going to be on fire, and hopefully I can add value to them, and I can connect them with other people that are going to be valuable to them.
Absolutely. Are you structuring these times? Obviously you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but I'm thinking back to when you were starting businesses and you're meeting a ton of people. Is there a balance between meeting so many people because everyone's an opportunity versus also being like, I need to dial in what I need to focus on?
Yes. So, the meetings are only from like 8:30 to 9:30, lunch 12:30 to 1:30, and then either recovery, if someone wants to meet me at like Denver Sports Recovery while I'm doing my recovery routine later in the evening, or after that for dinner. So, yeah, the other times are blocked out for me time, workouts, content creation, outdoor adventure. So I don't take any phone calls. I don't take any meetings during those times. I have my phone set to call forwarding and have for 10 years. So I turn all my notifications off on my phone. So I'm not distracted at all during any of those other times.
I love that. So is that something that you started again when you were doing the property and casualty insurance, or is that something that you learned along the way?
Yeah, more along the way with just managing multiple businesses. Like my mind started to become distracted because I had so many things going on. I had so many notifications that I realized like I don't function well if there's all of these different stimuli coming at me. Like I'm very good at focusing on one thing at a time. And if I can do that, I can do very well at it. But if there's too many things hitting me, then I get overwhelmed and I don't function well. So I learned to like block off certain times so I could hyper focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah. You mentioned multitasking without multitasking. Is that alluding to the belief that we can't really multitask and you're either 100% on one thing or not the other? Like you can eat food passively and have a really good conversation, but there's other things like checking email, listening to music where maybe you can't. Is that what you're kind of talking to?
Yes, 100%. Like I know those times where I can focus on like answering messages or meeting with people. And I know those times like working out and adventuring where like that's what I want to focus on so I can be in my flow state while I'm doing that. So yeah, for me, I am not very good at multitasking unless it's combining one thing that's passive, like eating, with talking to someone. I can do that. Or like at Denver Sports Recovery, I am getting my recovery routine in, and I can also use my phone to answer messages. And like I pick certain things to be able to do that. Like I like sitting in an infrared sauna as opposed to foam rolling because it's much easier for me to just sit there and use my phone rather than foam rolling where like I would just kind of have to focus on that and couldn't be phone. So
yeah, that makes sense. That's super smart, picking things that allow you to be multitasking without multitasking. Are there any non-negotiables? And they might have changed over the course of your life, but right now are there non-negotiables where it's like every day I do this?
Yes, definitely. Every single day, I get at least one workout in. I try to get outside for 60 to 90 minutes every single day. Um, when I'm here in Denver, and even most of the time when I'm traveling, I try to get at least 60 minutes of recovery in, whether it's an Epsom salt bath, doing an ice bath, sitting in a cold stream, sitting in an infrared sauna, doing cryotherapy. That's something I always try to get in. I like meeting with at least 1 to 2 like-minded people every single day. That's a big part of my flow state. So that could be a new person, that could be a business partner, that could be another creative, could be a friend. But I like deep, authentic conversations. Morning coffee is a must. Starting the day with a win, like a healthy smoothie bowl and a run. Those are all non-negotiables.
Yeah, I love that. There's a lot of non-negotiables, but in that sense, but at the same time, I love the saying structure equals freedom or discipline equals freedom. So your daily routine then is pretty dialed in. I think we've got, for the most part, you've talked about everything that you like to do within it. Is there anything, take us kind of like through a day. So what time do you wake up? What time are you looking at email, checking your phone? What time are you exercising? Are you doing it to match your circadian rhythm, or are you doing it more to match your schedule?
Yeah, more to match my schedule. I go to bed around 11 o'clock every single night. I wake up around 7. I don't set an alarm clock. I don't take any meetings before 8:30, so I don't have to set an alarm clock. I usually just wake up naturally right around 7 every day. I like my mornings slow. The rest of my day is really fast. So I start my mornings. Lately, I've been taking my girlfriend's dog for a walk, drinking my coffee, and then I'll come back to my loft and just kind of plan out the day. Like, who do I want to create content for? What's my morning workout going to be? Where do I want to adventure? What do I want that adventure to be? So I'll plan out the day. And then I'll, 4 days a week, shoot off to a coffee meeting with someone. And then from 10 o'clock until 12 o'clock every single day, that's when I do my CrossFit training. So strength training, Olympic lifting, gymnastics, Metcons. After that, I have lunch. I eat at the same place almost every single day. I have this custom salad that I've made at Green Seed Market at Denver Central Market. So that's structured. I don't like having to think about food. I like having that on autopilot because I'm a firm believer that all of us suffer from decision-making fatigue.
Yeah.
And the more decisions you can put on autopilot, the better you're going to be at making creative decisions that really matter. So I eat the same things at the same times pretty much every single day. After I have lunch, I usually go off into the mountains and do some kind of outdoor activity, whether it's hiking, trail running, mountain biking, and then shoot back to Denver. And I'll usually have like an hour window when I get back to Denver where I'll answer messages, emails, messages on Instagram. That's usually when I'll do a post for the day. And the Instagram post is generally like what I'm doing that day and what was going through my mind. I like to use it as Instagram. Then I go to Denver Sports Recovery, or I do my recovery routine at home. At Denver Sports Recovery, I sit in the infrared sauna for 50 minutes, and then I do 30 minutes of contrasting baths, 5 to 7 minutes in the cold tub, 5 minutes in a hot tub, back and forth, 3 rounds. And then after that, dinner, either out with someone or cook dinner at home. And again, it's usually a rotation of like 3 to 4 places that I'll go to where I already know what I'm going to order, or I just make the same thing at home at night. A big salad with either eggs or chicken.
Wow. I love that structure. I love the idea of decision fatigue and eliminating as much as you can, because your social media is super creative. What you do is super creative. And anyone who's got any kind of job where they have to be creative, eliminating those micro decisions that really you can autopilot. I took from your one of your posts about Instacart and grocery shopping. That's super, super helpful. You speak to recovery a lot, and a lot of athletes or people that want to train like athletes, they want to go hard. But what people don't realize is that any athlete that is like a Michael Phelps or a LeBron James, they're recovering just as hard. They're sleeping 10 hours. They have 5 different people on staff assigned to massage different parts of their body and recover. How important has recovery been, down regulating, getting to your parasympathetic, been for not just what you do daily with the CrossFit and everything you do in there, but also is your recovery time lengthening when you're doing something like an Ironman?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, I mean, my recovery time is a full week after doing a full Ironman, where, I'm much more diligent about that than I am about thinking about exercise. Yeah, so I'm 39, and as I've gotten older, I've realized the importance of, recovering so you can do the same amount of volume the next day. And like, I haven't been injured now in 2 years, and the reason is because I'm so diligent about the preventative healthcare stuff, about eating healthy, getting enough sleep, doing the ice bath, sitting in the infrared sauna, sitting in hot Epsom salt baths, doing cryotherapy, going to a float tank, doing red light prism pods. So, yeah, I mean, the amount of time that I spend recovering is probably more than the amount of time that I spend exercising. And I mean, some of it too is like, I very rarely sit still. I'm moving all the time. I'm walking. And I'm in compression almost all day long. So like, I have things built into my day that are recovery aspects that aren't even, like, oh, he's sitting in an infrared sauna for 50 minutes. Like, that's obviously focused recovery, but there's so many things that are built into my day that are helping me in repairing my muscles faster so that I can do the same amount of volume the next day. And honestly, for me, I'm more of a lifestyle athlete now. Like, I don't like being labeled as, a CrossFit athlete or elite mountain bike racer or an Ironman. I just like feeling good every single day. And I know like what amount of volume I can do day in and day out, and then back it up again the next day. I know when I can go hard. I know when I should back off. And I know it looks like every single day I'm crushing it. Most of the time I'm going at like 70 to 80%. There are days where like I'm going hard, certainly, and I'm lifting really heavy, but most of the time I'm doing percentage work when I'm lifting weights, and I'm mountain biking at 75 to 80% of my max heart rate. I might be redlining 2 days a week, but it's just for short amounts of time, so I'm not frying my nervous system. And I mean, these have taken time to figure out, like, what can I do today and not suffer from it tomorrow, and be able to do the same thing tomorrow to get that same high that I got yesterday.
Yeah, totally. And are you taking inventory of outside stressors as well, so that central nervous system isn't getting so taxed?
Oh, definitely. And I mean, that's a lot of like delegation, automation, and elimination, not having to worry about a lot of other things that are stressors that are going to affect everything else.
Yeah.
So as simple as like, automating things on Amazon, so you don't have to think about, buying them all the time, or getting your groceries delivered, so you don't have to think about going to the grocery store. So yeah, little things like that eliminate outside stressors.
The Ironman. So I know you say you had a lot of people kind of connect with you through social media, through when you were competing in Ironmans. What was that training like? And obviously from a physical standpoint, it's really intense. You're running a marathon, you're swimming 2.4 miles, biking over 100. But from a mental standpoint, at what point in the race or in your training does it really become a battle against your mind versus just putting one foot in front of the other, one arm swinging in front of the other, or continuing to ride your bike?
Yeah, I mean, they say mind over matter, and that's what it is. It's more of a mental. I mean, you have to do the training. You can't just go and do an Ironman. So do you have to be somewhat fit, durable, have aerobic capacity to do it? Yes. But once you're fit and you've put the training in, the race is mental. It's just like, how willing are you to suffer? How willing are you to just keep going when that, I mean, in an Ironman, it's not like a CrossFit workout where it like hurts and you want to throw up and you want to like quit because of like the muscle pain. It's more just like there's this headwind that just keeps getting stronger and pushing against you and like telling you to stop and walk and like, why are you doing this? It's like you have this angel on one side and the devil on the other, like fighting with each other. And like, you have to like fight the devil off and like keep like talking to the angel that like, why am I doing this? What's my purpose behind this? And you just learn, like, my first Ironman, like I really suffered. My final Ironman, I knew like what was going to happen in my head, and I was able to control it a hell of a lot better because I had already experienced it. Plus I had already done it. Like I've done 5. I'd already accomplished 4 Ironmans, and it's like, I know I can do this. So it's just like putting one foot in front of the other, making it from, 1 mile to the next mile to that aid station to get a cup of Coca-Cola to spike my blood sugar, and I'll be fine to get to the next mile, and you just keep going. So the further you push yourself, I heard Laird Hamilton say this on a podcast, like your body starts to realize this is the new house. This is like what we're living in. This is what he's going to be doing to me. So I have to adapt, and you end up.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. That's a new house. I like that idea of the headwind getting stronger and the angel and the devil. With that first Ironman, were you doing any kind of visualization techniques to see yourself completing it? Because obviously once you complete one, you can see yourself already doing it. You've already done it. You have that memory stored. But were there any techniques that you used before that first Ironman?
Yeah, so I used to do 5-hour bike rides on my trainer in my home gym in my loft in Syracuse. And like to ride on a trainer for 5 hours, you have to be pretty dedicated and you have to have a pretty strong purpose. And, you know, I would be thinking about like, this is what I have to do to qualify for Kona. Like I had a major purpose. I actually just had this conversation with someone yesterday. I'm doing this Leadville 100-mile mountain bike race on Saturday. And I feel super underprepared based on how I used to train. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm very fit. I'm sure I'll do fine, but I don't have as much of a purpose for it anymore. Like I'm excited about Leadville. I think it's going to be fun, but like there's nothing beyond it. Like I'm not planning on winning it. There's no like major purpose that I have with it. I'm not doing it for someone per se, like someone that died from cancer or something like that. And a lot of these sports where it's extreme suffering, like you need a deep purpose as to why you're doing it. And with Ironman, I had that deep purpose. In my first Ironman, I missed qualifying for Kona by 1 minute. The guy who got the final slot in my age group, I didn't know it at the time, but I saw his age on his leg. He passed me at mile 25 in the run. I had nothing left. I mean, I gave it my all. So, you know, kudos to him for getting that spot. I couldn't do anything, but that was my motivation for every single day I was training for the next 364 days to get to Kona. And I did. And then I had a terrible race in Kona, which I think most people do, in 2013. And I felt like I didn't showcase like how much hard work I put into it. I didn't think my time reflected that. So that's what the next 364 days went towards, was like, I want to have a good race at Kona. I had a great race at Kona in 2014, and I continued training, but I started to lose my purpose for it. And I was waking up without passion anymore. It was feeling like work. And that's when I realized I had to switch gears. Like I was suffering. I was doing something for 25 hours a week with no major purpose behind it. So, you know, I think that's the key is like, what's your purpose? Once you have that purpose, like that's what you're visualizing all the time. Like, this is why I'm doing this. This is my reason for signing up for this thing, creating this business, whatever. Like you need a major purpose.
Yeah. How has your purpose evolved? Because you've obviously transitioned from so many different things. Has it been a holistic theme, kind of a string that's threaded through every single one? Or have you changed it as you've gone and endured different hardships, different pain, and you've been like, man, I don't want people to endure this. This is my purpose now.
Yeah. So I'm a firm believer in chapters in life. Like you're going to write many chapters in life. And I feel like the chapter in life that I'm writing right now is chasing perfect days. So that's my purpose. I want to wake up and I want to replicate the day I had before, because I know the day I had before was, you know, almost a perfect day. So that's kind of my theme and my purpose now, is just doing those things that I know bring me positive energy, being in environments that bring me positive energy, being around people that bring me positive energy, and just like replicating perfect days.
When did you start this perfect day purpose?
When I moved to Colorado, I just realized that I was starting to go through the motions in my hometown of upstate New York. I wasn't growing anymore. I didn't feel fulfilled. Like by the outside perspective, I had a great life. You know, I had nice things. I had a nice place. I had all these successful businesses, a beautiful girlfriend, a dog. I had all the things, but I just didn't feel fulfilled. And I kind of felt like I had reached my limit in a smaller city. So when I moved to Colorado, that's when like I started doing things that like really brought me positive energy, and being around people that were like just like forcing me to grow more and more like-minded people. Like out here in Colorado, people are very lifestyle oriented. Like they're more excited about the run they went on in the morning or the hike they went on than making more money. And, you know, I felt like in my 20s, I got trapped into that like material chase money mentality. of, that's supposed to bring happiness, and that's what success is. And out here, like, just being around the people that I'm around here, like, they're chasing perfect days too. Like, they're doing those things that bring them positive energy. They're super mindful of not going through the motions, and they're just like living life to the fullest. So I think it was being out here that like changed my mindset quite a bit, and realized like doing things that bring you positive energy every single day. That's what life is about. Having deep, meaningful relationships with a close group of people. That's what life's all about. Creating, that's, something for me that brings me extreme happiness, is like creating content, inspiring people. So I'm just doing things every day that bring me positive energy. And I hope that I'm exuding that positive energy to, like, other people are grasping onto that, and, they're learning from it.
100%. I mean, that's why I had you on, is because you're an inspiring person to me. It seems like you have a lot of self-awareness, and I think it takes a lot of self-awareness to continually reevaluate like your purpose and why you're not happy, and that move from upstate New York to Colorado. Do you journal? Do you have a therapist? Do you just have a really good network of friends? How do you get this kind of 360 insight on yourself?
Yeah, I don't journal. I used to in the past. I just have fallen into, over time, I know what things bring me positive energy and what things don't. I know like what foods to stay away from. I know the things I need so that I function at my 100%. And it was just, years of dabbling with different things. And I still experiment here and there to see if there's like something else I can do that can make things even better. But yeah, in the past, I did journal. I think it's super important to like write down, like, these are the things I did today that made today amazing. These are the things that happened today that, were a drain on my energy, that brought negative. And then start avoiding those negative people, places, and things, and start seeking more of those positive people, places, and things.
Yeah. So it kind of sounds like you've explored and been really curious. And in that exploring, you've kind of expanded that spectrum of awareness to know, like, here's what I really like. On the other side, here's what I really don't like. And you just kind of shift towards what you do.
Exactly. And that's my friend group here too. And I firmly believe you attract what you are. And, by falling into this type of life, like, I've attracted those same mindful people. So I am able to have like deep conversations with like-minded people that are very self-aware, and that only helps me grow and get better as a person.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The circle that you have. And I wanted to bring that up when we were talking about how you meet so many people. When you're meeting so many people, is there kind of a layer, like you think of multiple rings of your network, your acquaintances, then your inner circle? The people always say the 5 people that you're around. Do you have a much more tight-knit circle of people that you spend time with beyond all the people that you network with?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I have a small group of people that I spend a lot of time with, and then I have a large group of people that, I spend time with, but it's not the people that I'm around on a daily basis, interacting with.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I think it's important to have both. Like, I enjoy having a lot of friends. I enjoy having a lot of people to interact with, but I also enjoy having a close-knit group of people that I have like really deep conversations with.
100%. Yeah. So going to wrap this up, but a lot of things we've talked about, whether it's Ironman, starting businesses, a lot of the stuff that you talk about is endurance. And I remember reading somewhere that you kind of look at business as an endurance, but really anything that you have as a goal, anything where you want to achieve something great. I think endurance and resiliency are 2 big traits. You could throw a few more words at it, but could you just speak to that mindset and maybe dive a little bit deeper into your philosophy on just how important endurance is for doing anything great?
Yeah. So when I finished my Ironman in 2014 in Kona, I wrote a long Instagram post about it. And the gist of it was, doing an Ironman is so much more than just swimming, biking, and running an unfathomable distance. It's all about like setting mini goals so that you can achieve this major goal. And, a lot of people aren't willing to endure on a daily basis and just like take small steps to run a marathon, because that's what it takes. It's like the small incremental things that you do every single day, picking kind of one thing at a time to master, knowing that you're going to write a lot of chapters in life and you have time to achieve everything you want. but you have to backtrack into it and start like really small. So for example, like 1 year I would focus on sleep, and like that year was all about mastering sleep. 1 year I would focus on diet. That year was all about mastering diet until they became a habit and part of my routine, and then I would move on to the next thing. And that's what endurance is just like, can you make small incremental changes, create habits out of them, and then over time they're going to amount to something monumental.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you spent a year on sleeping something that's so important. And anytime like people try and create habits, they're like, oh, I got to do it for, what is it, 60 days or 3 weeks? I don't know what the number is, but I feel like you really get it in that it's a whole year focusing on it and taking the mindset of you still have, like, I like to look at The Rock as the guy's 50 and he's still jacked. So you said you're 39, you have at least 11 more years of being absolutely yoked. And so having that mindset of, you don't got to get your fitness all done in 1 year. You don't got to start your business and make it $1 million business in 1 year. And really having that commitment to endurance. I just love that you spoke to that, and that it was a year that you focused on one, because that was going to be one of my questions, was how you're able to deep dive into so many different things: recovery, training, Ironmans, businesses. You got the restaurants, which is a completely different industry, but you kind of just spoke to the testament of really diving in deep for a long period of time and making it a habit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be awesome if you could share with people how they could connect with you, whether they want to just follow you, reach out, ask questions. I know you got a website. If there's anything else you'd like to plug, more than happy. Share it now, and I'll link to that in the show notes.
Cool. Yeah, no, just my Instagram account, my name, Eric Hinman. You can find my website through that, but that's the best place to find me. And if you guys have any questions, just shoot me a DM. I try to reply to every single one.
Awesome. What's the hike today?
Today I'm going mountain biking, Ohio Valley Ranch in Boulder. I just got my mountain bike back yesterday. I cracked the frame on it about a week.
I saw that. Yeah, new frame. It's exciting.
So, yeah, I'm going to ride an hour and a half today. It'll be my last ride before Leadville, this race that I have on Saturday, and going to head off to the mountains tomorrow to start preparing for that race mentally.
Awesome. Love it, brother. Well, hope you have the best day ever, and it's a perfect day, and hopefully you keep chasing them and keep inspiring, man.
Thanks, my man. Great chatting with you, Paul.
All right, take it easy.
That was Eric Hinman, and one of the biggest things that I took away was just how structured he is and how intentional he is with his daily routine, and anything that he's doing with intent and with purpose, and I think it's something we can all take away. Before I let you go, I want to thank you for listening, and if you got something out of the podcast, please head over to iTunes, leave a 5-star rating and review. Helps me grow this podcast so that I can reach more people with it. If you like the vibe, subscribe. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time on the Down Dog Athletics Podcast.